Hello, Torah community. It's Rav Natan here to share with you some words of Torah for this week's Parsha, Parshat Emor. This week's Parsha, Parshat Emor, talks a lot about the Chagim. And in the course of talking about all the Chagim, it goes through a lot of the mitzvot that have to do with those Chagim. And one of those mitzvot is a mitzvah that we are engaged in right now of Sfirat HaOmer. Now, we don't always realize this, but Sfirat HaOmer, the mitzvah we do today, looked a little bit different during the time of the Beit HaMikdash. During the time of the Beit HaMikdash, the first day of counting the Omer actually was a very big event. What would happen is the night of that second night of Pesach, a lot of the Jews would go out into the fields, a farm close to the Beit HaMikdash, just in the outskirts of Yerushalayim, and they would cut a little bit of barley from some of the harvest. After all, it was the beginning of the barley season, the barley harvest season. And they would take that barley, make it into flour, and bring it the next day as a Korban HaOmer in the Beit HaMikdash. And with that began the counting of the Omer, the mitzvah of Sfirat HaOmer, all the way until Shavuot, where they would begin not the barley harvest, because that was the second day of Pesach, but they would begin the wheat harvest. And they would bring on Korban, just like the barley on the second day of Pesach, from wheat, and making a Korban of the shtei lachem, of bread from the wheat. Starting with the barley, 49 days, and going to the wheat, celebrating the barley harvest, and then 49 days celebrating the wheat harvest. So what's the significance of this counting of the Omer, and what's the significance of the mitzvah to bring that Korban Omer before we begin counting? I want to share a beautiful idea with you, which is that in some ways, Korban Omer is similar to other mitzvah we have. Just like Bikurim, our first fruits, or Challah, we bring we give the first of our grain to the Kohen, we make challah. So Korban Omer is the same thing in that it shows that the first of this barley harvest, really we dedicate to Hashem to thank Him for our harvest and to realize that this whole harvest, everything we're going to eat from this harvest ultimately came from Hashem. Now, that's beautiful, but I want to add one more thing, which is that the word Omer is really a measurement. It's an amount of grain. What's another time this word Omer comes up in the Torah? The amount of man that Hashem would bless the Jewish people with each and every day in the Midbar. Now, what's the connection? The Torah is trying to teach us that just like when we, the Jewish people, got the man, it was totally from Hashem. Every day we had nothing to eat, and the man fell from the sky, and we ate from it. And for our entire time in the Midbar, that's how Hashem took care of us with this man. Then the man stops when we're in Eretz Yisrael. And the day that the man stops was actually the second day of Pesach, when the Korban Omer was brought. What's the connection? Omer of Man, Korban Omer, tell us that even when we transition out of the Midbar and we're in Eretz Yisrael and we're in our regular lives, we still should view the food that we get, the harvest that we get, the way Hashem provides for us, like our experience of the man. That every day Hashem's taking care of us, and really what we have comes completely from Hashem. And that's the mitzvah of Sfirat HaOmer. Mitzvah of Sfirat HaOmer is to really take those 49 days to really inculcate that idea and make us realize that Korban Omer, that Sfirat HaOmer, is really just the Omer of Man, that Hashem is providing us each and every day with all of our needs. So I'm blessing everyone that Hashem should continue to bless us with our needs, and that we should see whatever it is that we do get as from Hashem. Shabbat Shalom.